Yo, yo, yo! What's up, all you burner stoners and potheads, and especially all you gardeners out there? This is Mr. Weedman and Big Earl with the Weedman 420 Chronicles Grow Hour. How are all you gardeners doing out there? Big Earl, what's going on, my brother?
What's up, man? How we been?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Like we talked about before we started recording, this day on a Monday night makes me excited. It takes all the fucking bullshit you have to deal with during the day because I get to record with you. And I get to get baked with you, my friend. So before we get started on the show, everybody, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to us. But Big Earl and I are about to get baked. And I'm smoking some Ursula berry grown by Big Earl himself. Big Earl, I'm going to let you do the honors, man, while I get to hit this fucking bowl.
That Ursula berry is fire from Hummingbird Hill, hopefully. We'll talk with him soon. But I'm smoking on... roll up some blueberry soda, one of the blueberry soda pheno. Super like citrusy to berry terps, but my keeper had a funk to it also. So this actually isn't my keeper, but I still like it a lot. Very citrusy, very more of uplifting, so I won't get so zonked and maybe a little, be able to talk about some integrated pest management today, So
Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Some IBM. The fuck is IBM? Oh, wait. I'm fucking sorry, man. I think I fucking said it wrong. What are we fucking talking about today? I thought it was IBM computer.
Pest.
IPM.
IBM is a different show.
Yeah, someone might be using an IBM computer still from the 70s out there. Yes, we are talking about bugs, pest. Integrated Pest Management is what it stands for, IPM. And Big Earl, tell us a little bit more when you're done hitting that nice fat doink you got in your hand. Tell us a little bit more about Integrated Pest Management. This is a good topic, everyone out there. This is something that I think a lot of people make mistakes on. Nutrients was my number one. This one I haven't had much problems with, so I haven't really researched this a month, so I'm so excited to learn more about this, and I'm especially excited to learn from you, but also who we have coming on the next show, too, to talk about IPM, too. We'll talk about that at the end, but super stoked to learn more about this topic because you could have many different pest bugs, and you ain't calling the Orkin man to come to your crop and to your garden, that's for sure. So this is to help you handle pest that's in your garden. So tell us a little bit about, integrated pest management, my friend.
Yeah, so IPM is going to be more of a system that works together rather than, when people think of pests, I think a lot of times we have this bug, how do we get rid of it? Or we have this mold or whatever you want to call it, or whatever it happens to be. But really, when you get a well-rounded system together, it's going to be, that's what, when I think of integrated pest management, it's all these different things working together. So you use this for this mite, this for that mite, you might be in an area where powdery mildew is way more prevalent. So you might have a little bit of extra powdery mildew prevention in your IPM, or it goes on and on. So that's why, I think a lot of people say, oh, I have this product and I'm good. And really, at the end of the day, having this whole system that can work together is where we want to sit, because it's when you have a bug, you want to get rid of it, but the prevention is really, that's the best IPM, or the best way to not get a problem is to run preventatives. So having your IPM, your personal pest management system in place that works for you is super duper important.
So tell us a little bit more the importance of making sure you have proper IPM management in your garden or in your tent, and what are some of the products out there that you see? Sure. I don't know much. We've talked before what I use, and we'll go into that in a little bit, but what are some of the products out there that are good, safe, recommended, that's not going to get people sick, and especially if you're spraying it on your medicine later on, it's not going to get you sick?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's maybe not so much a ton of confusion. There's a lot of misinformation, maybe more than confusion, but we'll call it confusion. So we'll talk about the good products today. We're not going to bring up too many bad products. Just make sure you do your research. Make sure you ask about half-lives that we'll get into. Make sure you ask, especially if it's something systemic. Just make sure you ask. If it's ornamental, even some of the stuff they use on some of our foods, like you just don't want to spray it on your cannabis. So when we're talking about your IPM, for this argument, or for just in general, you got above your medium, so bugs that are on your leaves, that are on your plant in general, flying around your room, and you have below the medium, which sometimes they can fly around your room also, but that's bugs that live in your medium. A lot of times like fungus gnats and root aphids and little things like that.
I've had fungus gnats. That's the only That's the only pest I've had is some fungus gnats.
And you said you used diatomaceous earth and cleared her up.
I sprinkled that on the top of the soil, and then I used those little yellow sticky things and put them all around my soil, in the little stick. And then outside the tent, though, I had some fly paper. I had it actually pretty bad. I wouldn't say it was horrible, but it was bad. And it definitely came. I know exactly where it came from, too, which is the worst. And we can talk about that once you're done going through that. But I know exactly what product soil I used, and I never used it again. I know it came from there, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
Gnats will do that sometimes. I mean, when you're talking about soil, some of it has already foods and different stuff broken down in it. It's stored outside for however long, wherever, like it's hard to, a lot of those people will say, oh, there's no way it came from this bag or that bag. But unless you're getting just perlite and color, something with no food, no anything in it, like it's very possible to get it from your mediums if you don't know what you're looking for. But I got it
from, before I forget, because I'm going to get stoned here really nice. So I got it from, and I someone recommended to me, it wasn't you, it was somebody I talked to, like, oh, maybe I saw it online. Those little disc, and you put water in them and they come up. So, but you're supposed to use like extremely hot water and let it soak in extremely hot water to kill anything out of there. And then you run cool water. I know 100%. And I did that, but I still, all of a sudden it was like, bam, they came out of fuck. By like 2 or 3 weeks, all of a sudden I see one, I see two, next thing I was like, the plants were, probably a couple months old. Next thing I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And those things, man, they get out of the tent. They fucking spread like wildfire. Yep. They go in your other soil too. So those little rat bastards, man.
The drain ones, in my experience, have been the hardest to get rid of, because the drain ones, dude, they don't actually live in your. They're more of a nuisance, they're not like hurting your plants, but they're still flying around. I just don't want bugs, but it's very possible too. People mix up root aphids with fungus gnats a lot. Adult mature root aphids look like you have to get them under a scope to really tell the difference. They look just like them. Biggest difference is the root aphid lives in your root ball, and it's near impossible to get rid of them unless you're using something live. But yeah, right. They can come from everywhere, so it's definitely we were talking the prevention is going to get you way farther than the reaction. Oh, I got bugs, just prevention. We'll go over some preventative stuff.
Cool.
But so above, like spraying on your plant, right? So there's different oils, alcohols they use a lot, especially with oils, and soaps. They use those a lot together. Also, you can use those separately. A foliar food. I'm putting that on there only because the prevention, like we were talking, a nice foliar food, you get healthier plant. Healthier plants mean less bugs, maybe a stronger cell wall, even if you're using something with a silica, like a diatomaceous earth, or just a silica in general. And so foliar food can help even just make it harder for the bugs to get in there and set up. A sulfur, you can use a powdered sulfur. You can also burn sulfur. The big thing with sulfur, I know we're going to say it more than once, when you talk about sulfur and oil, you have to be super careful. If you spray them too close to each other, and I'm talking like weeks, some of them will say a month, they will burn your plant. Like you will walk in there and stuff will not be happy. So just be careful. That's a reason a lot of people don't use sulfur. But a really good sulfur is awesome. Like a good sulfur, you just got to know. The only one I've been told that is that superior that I used that was nice was Build a Soil. But sulfur, awesome. Burning it is going to be pellets in a little burner instead of actual powdered for a spray.
Kind of like when I was an altar boy with a little incense and a little thing, kind of like that. Is that kind of what it looks like?
Kind of. It's like most of them, and a lot of them actually got recalled for fire problems. So do your research on that too. That was years ago, but it's basically like a hot plate in a little like. Have you seen those things for starting charcoal on a grill? Those like long.
Oh yeah, chimney stars. That's the only way to do it. Never use lighter fluid. Never use lighter fluid. What are you doing? Then your food tastes like lighter fluid. You want to use a chimney starter, newspaper.
Done.
15 minutes later, you got perfect charcoal.
It's basically one of those with a hot plate in the bottom of it, and then another metal plate in there, and you pour your sulfur into that, and then it heats it up, and when it heats up, it releases a fog.
So can I buy scented ones, and I can sit in front of my plants and go da 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 while the sulfur? I like the smell of sulfur.
You do not want to be in there. I think even with it's hard to breathe. I set mine on timers generally when I used them. And if you go in there, like, oh my goodness, my sulfur burner is going off. But it's just a really nice, really easy way. And if you might have a damp basement, and it might be really beneficial for you to sulfur burn the whole basement once a week. It helps with molds. It helps with all kinds of stuff. Yes, it will stink. It does stink for sure. But the fog gets this layer on stuff. Helps with powdery mildew a lot. Outside it's really hard because the fog just blows away, But if you have indoors, the sulfur fogging is nice, or at least an option.
Gotcha.
Diatomaceous earth we already talked about, but it is awesome, and people utilize it.
I love DE, man. It is great. It is awesome. I found out about that about 4 or 5 years ago from a neighbor friend of mine, because I had an ant problem in the backyard, and he's like, "Dude, you use diatomaceous earth. It's great." I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "Oh, dude, it's just it's crushed sea. You can actually eat it. It's not harmful to anything. Your pets can lick it. It's not going to harm them. You can eat it. It's not going to harm you. This stuff is the greatest." And what it does is, I'm just going to go into it because I'm excited because it's something I know.
I'll let you go into it. I'm going to let the joint back up.
And what I like about DE is this. If you got an ant problem or a bug problem, it's harmless, odorless. It is great product, safe for the earth. Don't forget, you don't take care of Mother Earth. Mother Earth ain't going to take care of you. So this is a non-toxic product that what it does is it especially with ants, because they have the exoskeleton, it gets underneath there and it just freezes them up and they just die.
It's like little
it cuts them up. Yeah, so it's like sharp shards of knives going into their body, but it gets in everywhere. So if you have a very big bug problem, you in your tent, man, I when I started growing and gardening, I started putting it on the top of my soil once I realized I could have. And then when I got the fungus gnats, that went all over the top of the soil because I was killing all the little worms before they bred into the gnat part. So, but I do. This stuff is amazing. So if you've never used it, research it, try it. You will save the planet and save yourself from any kind of toxicity pesticides out there. So go ahead. Sorry, I got excited because I knew about something.
And that's great too. Home Pest is fantastic. Like, people will just do a DE sprinkle around their house sometimes yearly. Just, hey, it's, spiders don't like it. Nothing likes it. And the coolest part, you brought it up a little bit, but it doesn't hurt anything bigger than those small bugs. It's just not big enough. If a bird stops and munches on it, not hurting it. Bees, it doesn't hurt. If you soaked a bee in it, I like it as a spray. That's why I think it's underutilized a lot, because a lot of people only know it as a powder. Get that in a spray. It is fantastic. I put it in a spray.
I got to try the spray. I've never tried the spray before. I've always used the powder. Oh, that's great to know. Spray. Great. I love it. Go ahead. Sorry, brother.
I got that tip. I was at a different garden, and I was dealing with russet mites. It was a big garden. Excuse me. Joint was a little bit too hard,
he hit that way too hard. He hit that way too hard.
We thought they were broad mites. They ended up being identified as russet mites. They're similar. Honestly, we had to talk to some different people and then send some pictures and stuff. But I talked to a buddy. I said, man, he has a bunch of gardens. He's a badass. He knows his stuff. So do you have any tips, anything? These things are effing me up. Like, I want my quality. They're not allowing me. I can fight them. I can't get rid of them, and they're not allowing me to get the quality that I'm not only used to, but that I won't accept the quality I'm getting. Like, it's not fucking worth it. So he gave me the tip on the diatomaceous earth spray. It is badass. I did talk to him about soap, and he didn't recommend the soap, but I'd say I do like it with the soap. And we'll go over that a little bit later, but the soap just kind of makes stuff stick to things, and I kind of like it. So, but it has been great for me so far. I use diatomaceous in a few different areas, but nice. we'll get back on track. So still above the medium, and you brought them up already too. The yellow traps or the blue traps, they attract different things. So if you think you have the yellow traps, are going to be like your fungus gnats and your root aphids and your small flying like fly bugs like that, and the blue ones are going to be, I believe they say, like thrips and some other bugs that you can find on there, but they do attract different things. And those also, I've been, I'm not the expert on them, but I've always been told, look at insectaries on them. Don't get the super gooey ones. I think we're talking about that a little later too. And so one thing I do want to bring up is pyrethrins. Because
what
was that?
I'm still confused by that fucking word. Who?
Pyrethrins. So pyrethrins, it is a organic pesticide that is an extraction of a flower, the chrysanthemum flower. Chrysanthemum. It is ornamental for sure, right? So it's great on bugs outside, great on a lot of stuff. People claim by it, certain companies, if you read different, that it's not systemic at all. You spray it, it goes away. The spray, I don't know. You have to do your own research on the pyrethrins. I know that I have had a friend gardening, and he was using it as medium. He was watering it in. And when he got his flowers tested, he failed tests because of the pyrethrin.
Gotcha.
So definitely something there. He wasn't doing it the last day of flower, so definitely something there. I don't use it. I don't want to use it outside. I don't like it just because it kills everything it hits. The last time, and really only time I've used it, a couple times, these ground bees were fucking up my life, bro. These dudes were outside. I'm trying to mow my lawn, just getting running across the yard screaming because I got stung probably like 20 times.
Oh, jeez.
Because you don't realize that you're on top of them, and then all of a sudden they're stuck in your clothes. That's what they're doing with me, at least. They're trying to sting me through my clothes, so they get stuck in my clothes. By the time one actually gets me, I got 7 of them stuck on me, also kind of getting me at the same, I was just getting got. So it was one of those things where it was no mercy. But yeah, pyrethrins, just if you're really looking for something that's hey, what this hits, it kills, it's an option. Just do your research. I personally wouldn't recommend it, but it's worth mentioning. Another thing for above the median that a lot of people don't even think about is just a really high pressured spray, especially outside. Some people do just if you can do a really high pressured spray and knock these bugs off, that can be a ton of battle. It's nice to get them with a little soap, a little oil, but if you're getting later in flower outside and you're noticing a problem or something, just you really want to high pressure spray everything. I want it to be as high pressured. My sprayers, the pressure release, I don't have some big crazy cool dram sprayer, but the pressure release, I pump it until the pressure release starts giving. Because I want it to be really hitting my plants hard. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is your airflow. A lot of people, when I talk to them at least, their thoughts are, well, the more air, the more it's going to push around the bugs. And that is true. But it doesn't push around the bugs like take it from point A to point B, which it might a little bit. But really what it does is it creates, if you have a good airflow between like aisles or lanes or as much air, if you have like your stem of your plant and then you have like a foot and then you start branching out. Under that, you know, above your pots or right with your pots, having good airflow, bugs don't want to leave home. So if they're trying,
I don't want to leave home either. I understand them.
If you're walking outside and it's like a blizzard out there, you're just turning around and going back. So it's not only a way. Yeah,
it was -3 today. I didn't want to fucking leave the house.
It was so cold over there. It was like 20-something degrees. I couldn't believe. I saw people posting how cold it was. I was like, we're in Michigan, and I'm getting it. I think it was 20-something today at the lowest. That's wild. But the airflow is huge. I have had instances where I've worked with huge gardens, and my job was to do the biggest influence for the smallest input of money, basically. And so I went through and I evaluated, and that's what I ultimately said. Add a fuck ton more air in here. A lot of those, because they were having a bunch of different issues, so a lot of those are going to go away. Maybe not go away, but you can contain them. You can keep them from getting too big of a population. And don't get me wrong, if you can't just do airflow and be like, I'm good. But it just kind of gives you a little buddy that's always there. And, you know, you can, when you have a bug problem, if you have proper airflow, like I'll know if sometimes I get some gnats around, and I haven't had root aphids for a while. Oh my goodness. But, I know almost before my yellow traps, because I use inline fans, and where they're like hitting a wall. I like hitting walls because I have very little room outside my trays. So I'll point them down an alley or like an aisle at a wall, because it hits that wall and then it disperses the wall. And so I'm not like nailing my plants, but as it disperses the wall, it's kind of like getting everything a little bit. Right. But I know just because the bugs hit the wall right there. Like I'll see 4 or 5 gnats and be like, oh shit. And I'll go down and look and see a few on my yellow cards, because I usually lay those on the trays. And so, you know, but yeah, well-directed air is awesome. And nice. Then the last thing, which we're not getting into this a ton today, we will in the future, but the biologicals, you know, like predatory mites, there's good and bad mites, ladybugs, different things like that. A lot of people know
bad about those fucking ladybugs. They don't like to fucking stay home. They fucking leave. Oh, dude, they only stick around. They only stick around for a little bit.
Yes. And if you're inside, be prepared for there to be dead ladybugs freaking everywhere. I mean, they will eat and they will do their thing, especially if you give them like somewhere to kind of live and try to help them out a little bit until your problem is gone. If they eat your problem, most usually spider mites is what people have them in there for. And they'll keep going, you know, but then the problem, then their population outweighs the mites, and they start dwindling.
They're hungry little fuckers, aren't they? They eat like they fucking they eat
savages. They go head first. When you watch, they're eating the face first. Like it's this sad, like they're fun. Outside, I like them a lot. Outside, if you're outside, get a bunch of flowers. And get some ladybug houses or bug houses like that. And I'm telling you, you will have the good bugs come, and they will fuck those bad bugs up. All they need are the flowers, really. A bunch of flowers. You'll love it.
What if I got a friend praying mantis? What if I got a little fucking praying mantis style going on? Can I keep one of them in the tent if they stick around?
They sell them. You can buy little mantis eggs. I don't know if you want to release it in a tent. So the mantis, I don't know if they would actually eat like russet mites and really, really small mites and bugs like that.
Gotcha.
But I've seen people have like small mantis eggs and like release them in their garden. But outside, I bet that'd be badass. Like
little prey mantis style,
just killing everybody. But and then another thing that a lot of people don't talk about or know about outside the industry, at least. And I hope I don't butcher the name, but the Beauveria bassiana, a predatory fungus.
It's delicious. Wow, very good. Very good, Earl.
is a badass product. Different companies have patented their different types of it. And basically what it is a fungus that kills bugs. It's badass because if you can get it to live or culture or whatever the definition would be in your pots, it's a constant deterrent to any bug. Any bug that walks in there, it just grows on and kills. Doesn't fuck with your plant at all. You can spray it, but I spray it on my medium, but people do spray it above the medium, but I really like it on below the medium.
Cool. I'll have to remember that. Something like that'd be dope.
It's cool. Even spraying it above the medium, if you the thing about above and below the medium is below the medium, you can keep it alive and keep it kind of going. Above the medium, it hits it. If you can hit a bug, yes, it'll grow. If you don't hit a bug, it's not living very long on the plant. I believe they say it's good to spray even into flower. I don't really like spraying anything in flower, but
oh yeah.
I think they claim that. There's a lot of stuff that claims that. Again, guys, do your research. But
yes, do your research. You don't forget you got to smoke that too later on,
exactly.
or eat it, or whatever you're using for your gardens. So be careful.
Mm-hmm. And so we go to below the medium. So everything under where your roots are going to be, under what you're seeing. We talked about sulfur. Sulfur is great for below the medium. Also, a little powder on top. I use it even when I yes, I like that it deters bugs, but I use it for different reasons. I think that it helps bring out a kind of funk. So in some strains, I want to bring the funk, and I'll use it there. Diatomaceous earth, I think we already brought up, sprinkle on top. Pyrethrin, we already brought up, can be watered in and sprayed, but just do your research on that stuff. And then the biological that would be different. So the Beauveria we talked about with the fungus, but nematodes you can use in the medium. And I like a good nematode. They're awesome. They work, and they have some. They're specific. You have to know, there's some for like deeper soils and more shallow soils. And I was even listening to a podcast not long ago talking about a company patenting a encapsulation process of nematodes where you can water them and they can actually sink a little deeper. I can't remember the company. It wasn't US based, but it was pretty. They're doing some cool stuff. I think cannabis is pushing forward a lot of that safer alternative stuff because it's so.
Fuck yeah, man! They better because we got to put that shit in our body, man. I mean, all the pesticides we already take in our body. I don't want to smoke. I don't want any more. I want good, strong, healthy cannabis.
Yeah, medicine. It's but so that's tops and bottoms and some tips. Right.
Yeah, so tell us about those tips.
We came up with a bunch of tips on like, hey, don't fucking do this. So first off, no alcohol under the medium. You can spray that shit. Some of it can drip on your medium. You're cool. Don't water alcohol. Your plant will die. Any plant will die. It will zap your roots. You will die. Not you. It will die. You will probably be okay. Your plant will die.
Poor baby.
Don't spray during the day. I have heard that's a crazy thing. It's like when people say don't flush. It's like it's fine to spray during the day. No, do not spray during the day. I don't care if you have a surfactant, which just makes the water not clump up so much, and limits your burning. But I really like to spray. I want my spraying to be done about 15 to 20 minutes before my lights turn on. I don't care if my plants are a little wet. I just don't. The more time the lights have, like direct heat, and you have droplets of water, you're going to burn shit. But I do that because I let my lights then help my humidity so it's not all on the DHU, because when it's dark, the lights will zap out humidity a little bit, like bring it out in the air. And so it'll, I just try to use it together there and normalize my room as quickly as possible. Get a pesticide sprayer. Don't use a spray. Spray bottles. If you're in a tent, I get it. But a pesticide sprayer, we can get really good pressure. You can get a really fine mist if you want it. Let you like change the adjustment on the end of the wand. It's gonna do a ton. I can't guarantee anything, but I can say that you're gonna have one hell of a time getting rid of any kind of pest problem if you have just a little like pump spray bottle.
And they sell mini ones too. They don't. I mean, some people might be thinking of the big sprayer, the big green ones or whatever. They sell smaller ones you can get.
I use a half gallon all the time. I like to water my clones that way. I like to water like new seeds. I water with a sprayer, so I just put my feed into that. And so I have a half gallon, a 1 gallon, and a 2 gallon. Just depends on the job I'm doing because I don't want to have a gallon and a half of extra spray that I just poured or I don't need or whatever at the end of this stuff. And so, it is what it is. Not that you need that, but yeah, they come in small ones, like you said. Speaking of surfactant, I really like using like a soap. They make like Cocoa Wet's great. It reduces the surface tension of the water, making it way just more fine, so you don't get those big droplets. It gets better coverage. If you think of it from like our point of view, or something to compare it would be like you're walking outside and it's raining. You're not dodging one of those pieces of rain. And if that piece of rain can kill you, you're not getting out of the rain. But if you're walking outside and there's like a meteor shower and little meteors hitting one per every square mile, you're probably going to be able to dodge that fairly easily, So that's where it is with the bugs too. So using a soap or something, soap will help it stick a little bit too, but I think helps a lot. I haven't been able to really get rid of a problem not using something like that.
So the next tip I'm reading here is spray under the leaves first, and then come back over the top. That probably even better having that spray, but the small whatever the pressure spray to get it, because it's not easy to spray fucking underneath it. If you're using just a spray bottle, you're gonna lose, the water's gonna go, and you're not gonna get any water pressure at all. So that makes perfect sense for spraying underneath.
Yeah, because the wands are usually tilted a little bit even.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
And it's nice. So it is. Yeah, you can spray on top and then underneath. But I think you'll find, or I do, by the time I'm done spraying underneath, if I'm spraying well, the tops of them are almost 100% all wet. As like the drops coming down pretty much handle it. So I might do like a light spray over the top after that. But underneath, and that's where the bugs like to hang out, especially the shitty bugs. The bigger the bug, the easier it's going to be to get rid of. When you get the bugs that you can't really see until you get a microscope, those are the ones that freaking suck. Those are the ones that like get into your plant, and it doesn't matter what you do. There's 10 or 20 or 50% of them hiding in places you literally can't get to, and like those bugs are not fun. We already talked about the oil and sulfur sprays. That's a for real thing. Like you will know. You will know. Also, with sulfur, super picky in general. Like you don't want to spray sulfur more. I think they say 1 time a week. If you start doing it too much, you will burn the shit out of your plants. And it's not like that's kind of burned. It's like this round is done burned.
Yeah, you done fucked up.
Yeah. I've done it a couple times. I was like, and I was done with sulfur, because when you talk about oil sprays and alcohol sprays and soap sprays, you can use them pretty much as frequently as you want. Most of them, some of them you can't, but you don't have to worry. Like I have my schedule. I don't, but if I want to spray today because I see something weird, I can spray my plant wash. So. Another thing that a lot of people I don't think do is dip your clones, dip your small plants. Don't spray, dip them. If you can dip them, dip them.
Give them a good dip.
It is so the amount of coverage. If you have a pest problem, it is very possible to take clones. You have a pest problem in your mom room. You can take your clones, put them into a good solid dip, clone them, get rid of your moms, and have, clean your room really, really well and be done with the pest problem. taking care of your clones are very easy that way. It's very cost effective. It's quick, and it's super effective. We're getting to the end of the tips here, but just know anytime you use biologicals, they need an environment too. So if you're using some kind of predatory mite or something, know what it likes environmentally and make sure you're getting the right one. Make sure they're not saying use this kind when that kind isn't very good in heat and you know your room runs kind of hot. Like just know they need an environment as well, just like a plant. The bugs do. So make sure you're getting the right bugs when you're getting bugs. Make sure you wear protection, guys. There's some shit out there.
Yeah, make sure you fellas out there, you better wear fucking protection because you want a bunch of little fucking pests running around.
It's true to form everywhere, guys. Just protect everyone, men and women alike.
You want a bunch of little pests running around if you ain't protecting yourself. That's the Ursula Berry talk.
Ursula Berry. And we were talking before too about like there's products out there like neem. People think, oh, it's organic, it's good, but like when you're spraying neem, I didn't even know until doing some research on it, because I was thinking of it as an option in some other stuff, and I was like, you do not want to spray that without like proper, all geared up, like vented mouth, zipped up gloves.
No bueno. No bueno.
There's a lot of stuff like that. You just don't want to be breathing it in. So, they say neem. It's almost like pyrethrins. Pyrethrins are an extraction of a flower. Pretty sure neem oil is just an oil off of. What was that?
It is. You're 100% right.
Yeah, and it's just like, but they aren't our people. You don't like them.
You can use neem oil for your house plants or your fucking outdoor like garden, but don't spray it on your food, and don't spray it on your cannabis, please, because we've read some articles about neem oil on the show on the Chronicles, and it's been proven it fucks people up. So just neem oil bad.
The problem for your food and cannabis with outdoor stuff is bugs. It'll kill bugs when it hits it, but it leaves this oil layer, and bugs hate it. Good and bad bugs. So you'll run out your good populations, and those good bugs do a lot. We don't see it, but good bugs do a lot. Outside, good bugs are huge. They can be everything for you. So the last little tip here, I wanted to go over the Beauveria bassiana because I was dealing with this. I went into a garden, they had root aphids, and they had a lot of plants, and cutting down, like restarting everything was an option. And so I read a lot on it and a bunch of different products and how a bunch of different products said to use it. And I went back through and I tried to find the specific product, and I didn't, but it doesn't like a long saturation period. It doesn't want to be in water very long. It doesn't want to be in like a very super saturated medium for very long. That's why cocoa, I think it's a little bit harder to actually get the full benefit of that fungus. So what I like to use, just throwing it out there for everybody because it works really, really well for me. I like cloth pots, and I spray the entire outside of the pot and my top of my medium. I run cocoa, I water a lot, and I know it's not going to be able to live in my cocoa, and that's cool. But I figure anything that goes in has to come out at some point, and that's when my fungus is going to zap you. And I'll tell you what, I culture it. I spray it 3 days every other day, and when it's young in solo cups, and then after that, I spray once a week. And the product's a decently expensive product, but when you spray it like that, and you're only using 2 gallons a week tops for an okay little garden, it's pretty cost effective, and it works super, super well. So,
and that was the Italian dinner,
bassiana.
the Italian meats. I mean Italian bugs.
all of those bad boys. That sounds very bassiana.
Yes, that's very good, very nice.
Some of that. So the products I've used of those, No Fly and Botanigard are the two that I really like. No Fly is a powder. Botanigard is a liquid. No Fly wants to be in a fridge, it says. I don't believe Botanigard's directions said it needed to be refrigerated. When you talk about...
So No Fly is for what? Flying bugs, and then what is the other one? The is that for your under your medium, and one is for above your medium? Then what is it?
They're both Bouveria bassiana.
Oh, okay.
They're different, patented. I'm assuming they're different strains of it, if you want to call it that. So both companies have said, "Hey, this one's a little different. This is ours," and those are just two that I've used and that worked really well for me. One's a liquid, one's a powder. That No Fly was really hard to get. I used the Botanigard and I liked it. I used the No Fly, and then I started spraying and I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And I couldn't get it. And so then I just went back to the Botanigard and sprayed, and I said, well, this is just good spraying it.
Nice.
It was in a liquid. The Botanigard, I think, was a slightly more expensive to run. But it was in a liquid, so that's anything in a liquid compared to a powder. That's just for shipping prices and how the world works these days and packaging. It's going to be a little more expensive usually. So No Fly on that's the Bassiana. We talked about the oils and the waters and stuff. So oils, ISO, and alcohol mixes. Lost Coast Plant Therapy and Green Cleaner, not Green Clean, Green Cleaner. Green Clean is also a product, but you want Green Cleaner. Both of those are oils, alcohol and soap. Super cool products. They're kind of expensive, honestly, for what they are, but they really are nice. They really work well. I would call them like a plant wash more than anything, because you can use them every day if you wanted to, and your plants would love it. And any bug they hit, they'd probably kill. And bugs don't typically don't grow to be able to withstand it, because it's not killing by actual like chemical. It's killing by suffocating the bug and then drying it out with the alcohol. So the soap and the oil sticks to it. The oil also kind of like, and they leave like a little sheen on the plant. I like those. Those are nice products. Sufoil X is a cool product. Sufoil X, especially outside, because Sufoil X, unlike the other stuff, the sheen it leaves won't deter bugs after it's sprayed. So like when you have bugs, you want so you go out there and you want to hit all the good thing about spraying something like that outside is every bug you hit, you kill. The bad thing is outside you have good bugs too. But good bugs are only hanging out on the plants to eat, where bad bugs are always going to be on your plant. They don't leave. That's where they live. That's where they stay. That's why they're bad. So Sufoil X is nice outside. Would be a nice option, at least I would say. And then Dr. Bronner's we talked about is awesome soap, awesome company.
I use Dr. Bronner's. I use Dr. Bronner's for two things: taking a shower and spraying bugs.
You know what you shouldn't use it for? Don't wash your freaking car with it.
No, never done that. So,
bro, I did it. I was like, oh, I didn't have a soap, and I was like, this is a nice soap. It left like I had to like super shine it, Miyagi style, because it left like this white wax on my whole car. But it was wax. It was clean as hell afterwards. But it took me something I thought was gonna be a quick wash. Like I'm just getting some dirt off my car. It took me all day. It was like, nah. At first, I thought I ruined my car. I was like, oh my god, I just ruined my car with soap, with this $9 bottle of soap. Oh, dude.
Now show me sand the floor.
Yeah, exactly. I bet you don't want to use it on your hardwood floors either.
Yeah, nope.
We already talked about that Build the Soil sulfur. I haven't heard about anything besides Build the Soil being. I haven't heard any other like brands or anything like, hey, this is better. But the Build the Soil definitely does seem better. I couldn't say that I ran this side by side or did any of this or any of that, but just like handling it and kind of working with it a little bit. It doesn't clog my sprayer as much. But I don't use sulfur really much anymore, so I haven't been. The only time I'll use sulfur ever is if I'm really worried, like, oh, I might have a pest in here. I'll do a dip in it with my clones because they sit for 2 weeks before I spray them with anything anyway.
Gotcha.
But the living bugs, for the yellow bug traps, like for the bugs flying around. Get those bad boys from insectaries. Insectaries are badass, guys. Just Google them, look them up, find one close to you. They have live bugs. They have super smart people that work there. If your garden's any decent size at all, for sure, even a smaller garden, get a couple homies together, order some light. Don't pick up bugs in your shop. You don't want to, unless your shop's on it. Bugs are, when you go to insectaries, they have overnight shipping. You're getting those bugs the next day. When you go to shops, that was overnight shipped to a warehouse, which was then taken, to the shop. Who knows? Maybe if you're lucky, it was overnight shipped to the shop last week. So just know where your bugs are coming from, and those traps are going to be better at the insectaries and cheaper probably. Foliar food we brought up. My favorite foliar food, I don't really like the line, but the foliar from Heavy 16 is a fantastic foliar. It leaves a nice little sheen on your leaves. You can tell your plant loves it. If you want to go cheaper, because the Heavy 16 is a little bit of an expensive line, I don't really like their Prime is nice. They have a product called Prime. It's got a lot of little like minos and stuff that's just veg plants seem to really like, but it's just a very expensive line. Cost effective, Epsom salt.
Oh, there you go.
Sulfur in it too.
And you spray that on top of the soil and your foliage, or just is that just for the leaves?
Yeah, I just spray it all over my leaves. I'll put it in some Epsom salt in with some Lost Coast plant therapy. It seems like that's a little cheaper usually, but that and green cleaner are like the exact same thing. The alcohol, soap, oil mixture that we've talked about a few times, and put some Epsom salt in there and just give her the old spray. It's just magnesium really, but it also has the sulfur in it, so it's just a nice little foliar.
Nice.
So one thing that we haven't really talked about, or a company I should say more than anything, is a company that I really like called Marrone Bio. These guys, Marrone Bio, they have this 3-part system for cannabis. It's called Regalia, Venerate, and Grandivo. The Regalia is the powdery mildew. It's a extraction. I believe it's knotweed is what they call it. But it's a knotweed extraction, and you can spray it or water it in. I would recommend to water it in. You can spray it, but it's kind of a dark, thick substance, and it stains.
Ooh. It stinks?
It stains, yes. So if you're using PVC pipe or anything, your plant, it won't stain your plant. Your plant, I'm assuming, that absorbs it, but it stains the walls, the wood. I have right outside my reservoirs, I had a little thing fall over of it, and so on my wall is this big black spot. It kind of looks like a cave painting, so I actually put a sticker of a mammoth right there, and I just pretend like it's a cave painting. I'm too lazy to take everything out and paint over it, but it gets me through the day. It stains. It's not it's a little sticky. Like, it's just not super fun. I like to water it in. When you water it, if you run a reservoir, it will aerate super hard. It will create like a little bubble bath. So make sure your reservoir has it's not very full, because I came back to like a little rave scene the first time I used it. It was very, very bubbly. The Venerate and Grandivo is a combo. It can be sprayed and watered in, but they say to use Venerate 1 week, Grandivo the next week. It's one works better for one type of bug, and the other works better for another type for sure. But they'll both kind of work for everything in that aspect, and it makes it so the bugs don't build up a tolerance. So they go back and forth on those. Kind of an expensive line, honestly, but very cool. They're super progressive in cannabis. They've been doing it for a long time. They claim, right on their website, that you can spray until flower, I'm pretty sure, like the day before flower, and you won't fail tests. I don't like going off of when you'll fail tests because my standards are higher than what those tests would be. But because you can fail tests with all kinds of shit, But it's still cool to have. It's still a cool option. So Marone Bio, if you want a cool company just to look up, they're innovative. They're leading the industry on some cool shit.
Nice. Yeah. So let's move on, man. That was great between like the tips and then some product knowledge and stuff. But what's biological versus pesticides?
Yeah, so I think people get a little they hear pesticides and it's like, oh. But there are some pesticides, like diatomaceous earth is considered a pesticide. So their pesticide doesn't necessarily mean bad. Where it just means that it's a product, where biological means it'd be alive. So we have predatory funguses, we have predatory bugs. That's pretty much the extent. I don't know what like nematodes. I don't know if what those would be considered bugs or what family those would be in. But we have these predators that we can use to kill the bad guys. So nice. That's biological. Sorry, my throat just got super dry.
It's probably from that big rip. And you've been doing a lot of talking. You've been in mostly all the talking, so it's kind of nice. Yeah. I just get stony baloney and I just get to have fun.
So biological would be anything alive. Those bugs, fungus. I don't know about predatory bacterias. I haven't heard of that, but dude, I'll tell you what. People talk and it's like you hear somebody say, "Oh, weed's going to save the world." But if you look at it from so many different points of view, and it's totally an accurate statement, like from medically to like the advancements we're making recently and like just everything, a lot of it, even in these like pesticide stuff, it's so cannabis driven because it's such a cash crop and there's money behind it. And now people can see their money coming back.
The 6th largest crop as of now,
dude, and it's not even legal in like most of the places is not. And if it is legal, it's so scrutinized. It's so hard to, it's just crazy.
Create. You're right, man. 100%.
So that's biological pesticide. Pesticide doesn't mean it's bad. Pesticide just means it's gonna kill some fucking bugs. And there's good ways to kill bugs. There's good ways and bad ways.
Yeah, we're finding out right now. So where do they fucking come from though? I mean, I mentioned what happened to me, but there's I mean, a lot of ways you can get bugs, outdoor and indoor.
So when I was at the shop and somebody comes in, they say, "I think I have a bug problem. Here's a leaf. What's going on?" First off, please don't do that to your local shop. Bringing in a leaf doesn't say a bunch. If you really want to help them, get some traps out, take some pictures, do some, some close-ups. If you have a trap and a really good picture and don't have a scope or something, maybe bag it and bring it in. But, number one is, did you get in any plants recently? Because even if those plants, everybody's IPM schedule, everybody does something a little different. Bugs like different atmospheres. Mildews, like I've had plants that I've gotten that didn't show powdery mildew. Like my very first run in one of the gardens I have now didn't show powdery mildew at all. And then all of a sudden in flower, I'm like, holy crap, where's this coming from? And he actually got a hold of me and was like, oh, I saw some break out in flower in my mom room. So it waited, like it just depends, but the plant and other plants coming in, that if you just got plants in and you're seeing bugs or mold problems or any, that's where it came from. 99% of the time, that's like, you don't even have to, like, that's where it came from. Other places though, it is possible that it came in on you, especially if you have like a plant with powdery mildew outside, you've seen some kind of damage on plants outside, or you work in another garden. On you is definitely possible. And for sure on your animals. If they spend a lot of time outside, if they're coming into your house, it might go from your animal to you. if you're letting your animals downstairs and they might just go downstairs, I treat my yard because of that. So I like my dogs to be able to go into my bedroom with me. They like to be in there. They're not allowed in the flower room, and they know that. But I spend half my time in veg anyway.
And wait, hold on. So I've been to your grow. I've been to, and I've seen your 3 awesome dogs, so well trained, so well behaved. But yes, they love going into your one room, but they don't fucking go past the line. I mean, they stop. Like you don't even have to say anything. I was like, I turned on like, those dogs don't come in. He's like, oh no, and they know not to pass that line. I was like, damn, that's fucking bad. And I asked you why.
They pass that line. That's no treat line. Those dogs, they know one thing: it's how to get a treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't we all?
That's true.
But yeah, dude, I love my dogs being down there. So it was like, man, I don't want, like, I spent a lot of time down here, and I love like potting plants and having a dog lay on this foot and a dog lay on that foot, and me being able to give them little butt scratches anytime that I can. And I like, it's fun to me. It makes it, so. But I spray my yard and with diatomaceous earth mostly, and I treat the outside of my house, and I just try to make sure that the diatomaceous earth in the yard is good for like ticks and stuff too. So
nice. That's great to know too. Yeah, remember that, everybody. If you like got a nice big like backyard, or if you live close to a forest or something like that, just sprinkle some shit, because ticks on dogs suck. And
you spray that shit out there. You can just spray that whole yard down and just soak that stuff.
Why are some pesticides bad?
So, I think there's a lot of reasons, but to me, the worst pesticides have half-lives, meaning they're systemic. What a systemic pesticide does, something like Avid, which goes into your plant, and if it might eat your plant, it dies, or at least where it's spread. Or Eagle 20, where it goes into your plant, and they say for 45 days, you're good. Your plant can have powdery mildew. It's not going to pop up. And they're right. It's great. If you have a whole fucking field of powdery mildew, it gets rid of it, and it works for a while. But half-life, particularly, I think there's a little confusion behind. Because when people hear half-life, at least a lot of people that I have talked to and worked with and tried to explain stuff to, they think, okay, as a 45-day half-life, that means after 90 days, there's 0% of this in anything. So if I'm being really, really careful, if I'm running a 70-day plant, I just make sure I don't spray. I have 2 weeks in veg before I go into flower, and this is 100% out of my plant. That's not what half-life is. Half-life is the amount of time that it takes for half of it to be gone. So if, like Eagle 20, I believe it says it has a 45-day half-life. So 45 days, 50% of its effectiveness, 50% of its poison, whatever the F you want to call it, is in that plant. 45 days. In 90 days, 50% of that 50% is in that plant. Damn. So in 90 days, 25%. At 135 days, 12.5%. At 100 and fucking, what is that? 170 days, 6.25%. So it's like you don't. People have claimed that they spray their moms and they can find it in testing. People have claimed they haven't sprayed their moms for a long time and they found it in testing. People have claimed I've never sprayed it at all. They must have sprayed the clones, whatever. And who knows who's being honest and what who's saying what, But just know that when people, oh yeah, this takes care of it. Oh yeah, there's stuff out there that for sure takes care of stuff. Most stuff, at least. But when they deal with half-lives and it gets nasty like that, like, just stay. My advice would be stay away from it. You can say, well, these guys said that, so I'm going to take their word for it. But at the end of the day, some of that stuff's nasty. And when it hits high temperatures, it turns into like some gases that hurt. Like, it's not just like some harmless stuff. Like, and spraying it is bad too. Like, there's like re-entrance times for that shit. So, watch out for that. If it says half-life, just know what that actually means and know what you're actually getting into there.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well, we all know the best. What's the best defense? It's being an offense too, I guess, when it comes to the best defense is the best offense. The best offense is the best defense, I guess, when you're playing against Pest, right? You got to have a good offense with this, but you also got to have a really good defense.
Yeah. So your offense could almost be like like what we've been talking about, where your like the sprays and the stuff that you can do, where your defense could be your plant itself. So just a really healthy plant and soil can be a fantastic defense. Like, it is hard, and we talked about this a little bit with Magic Beans. He said you won't get bugs on healthy plants, and I would have to 100% agree with that. Outdoors, indoors, you can have really healthy plants and just get a bug problem because there's zero predators and it's working around your IPM somehow. I'm not saying everybody has their experiences, but I think that it definitely makes it so much harder when you have a really thick, healthy cell wall, a really strong. It's like with us. If you're really strong and healthy and you get a cold, it's probably not going to affect you. But if you are not so healthy and don't have the right gut biome or whatever you want to call it, all that, the right stuff going on, a cold can knock you down. The same cold can put you out. So it's kind of like that with the plants for sure. So the best offense is a great defense, I think, is what the saying is. And the best defense with the plant is just being super healthy, especially if you can get a healthy soil. Healthy soils are fantastic.
Nice.
And then, like we said, preventatives, honestly, like preventatives, the worst part about preventatives is actually doing it. Is saying, I don't see a problem, but it's Tuesdays, and on Tuesdays I do this. Especially, if you're not making money on your garden, or if you don't make money on your garden, or you're getting to the end of your product, or whatever. There's so many things that it's like, man, it's kind of a pain in my ass. Like, maybe I just won't do it. But I tell you what, when you find that good that schedule that works for you, and it can work for you as far as products or as far as, Tuesday afternoons, I have most of my time. So I run this product on Tuesdays. And then my only other day that I have time is Sundays. So I run this product on Sundays. And this is my schedule because of that. But you will use far less product preventing it than controlling it. So, just because you run preventatives doesn't mean you won't get bugs.
Right.
But I could almost guarantee you will not only slow down bugs severely, but you will catch them faster because you're going to actively be in there spraying for them. So you're going to be in there like, say, hey, this is part of my protocol. This is something I'm actually paying attention to. I found, this bug would have had millions of them in here, but I got them. There's only 10,000. It's in this corner. Now, week 6 of flower, you find this problem, you might be able to take out a really bad plant or two, or spray it really hard with some water and slow down an infestation and get out of flower. You might be able to take it 8 weeks at that point. Like, it's huge in my opinion. Preventative, not reactive.
Right. Good, man. I mean, when I had my problem, I wasn't really being preventative when I had those fungus gnats. I didn't know, but while all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I got a fucking problem. So I had to be reactive. But if I would have took care of it and added stuff that I wanted to from the beginning, I probably wouldn't have the problem. But so just a lot of people don't know. You don't know what you don't know,
sure. Well, and it's hard. It's like, so you're growing, you say you're just starting out. You never had that problem yet. You don't even know. You might not even know it's a problem.
I think that happened that happened on my 4th grow. So I didn't even realize I was going to fucking, I was like, I'm fucking homegrown. I don't, I'm not, like I said, I don't plant a garden outside. I don't plant tomatoes or any of that stuff. Mrs. Weedman always did. So it's just like, I don't pay attention to that shit. I always thought it's just you let shit happen, it happens. There's good bugs, there's bad bugs. They're gonna fight one of each other off, and as long as I still get fucking the end product, I'm good. But knowing now and learning more from you and learning more on this show, yes, start off by being preventive and not reactive. So.
And something like that too could literally be as easy as spraying diatomaceous or sprinkling it on top of your pot, and just sprinkling it on there and saying, "This is what I do this week," and this is and then really, you'll probably change it a million times.
Right.
You'll say, "This is what I think I should do," and then you'll probably get a problem, and you'll say, "This is how I think I got this problem. I'm not actually defending this as well as I thought I was. I'm changing this product to that product." Adding this or taking this out and whatever it is. But yeah, that's great. And then you learn for next time.
That's it. So what's your personal, everybody knows mine. It's not very good, but I have something. So, but what's your personal IPM schedule look like?
So I don't spray in flower. The only time I spray in flower is just straight water. I do it for a few reasons. First off, if I'm pollinating a branch, like a lot of times when I run my breeding projects, I'll take, I'll get a Ziploc bag and I'll put it in and I'll put it over my male, and then I'll zip it up and I'll spray everything with water, including myself, and I'll let it chill for a while because water kills pollen. And then I'll go into the room and I'll spray everything with water except for like the area of the branch I want to pollinate. Then I pollinate that branch and I spray everything around it with water again. So I'll spray straight water, RO water. I'll do it for that. And I do it because I use diatomaceous earth as a spray in veg, and it sticks to the branches really well with the soap. That's why I like it, because then I can take it into flower and it can grow all the way through flower, and I can still see it on the branches as I get to the end. And so I just do it because I noticed the first time I used it when I was taking it down, I saw some of the diatomaceous earth falling off. And it doesn't fail tests. It's not bad to smoke or anything. It's literally nothing. But I still don't want it there. And so when I spray it down at the end, it kind of washes some of that, anything available right there that would fall off, washes it down the branch.
Gotcha.
Or off. So, so in veg, what I do, and it will change every now and again, not necessarily what I use, but like the days I use it. So on Mondays, I usually use the Lost Coast Plant Therapy with a foliar food. The Lost Coast Plant Therapy is the alcohol, oil, and soap spray. I do that just because I want to do a foliar food anyway, and that just is a nice additive. Sometimes I don't use Lost Coast Plant Therapy. Sometimes I'll just put a little soap and alcohol in it. Sometimes, sometimes I get a little sample. I have a couple of samples of this lemon oil, and sometimes I just use some of this lemon oil because it smells real good. But I just use it with the food. Right. And I just, if I'm spraying the food anyway, might as well add some of that. On Tuesday, then I will, and this won't be every Tuesday, about once a month. That one's a little different for me. It just really depends on when plants are coming in and out and like what things are going on. But I get my diatomaceous earth spray. So I spray everything. I want my tables, my walls. I want everything fucking covered in that. It's just been, I love it. It's been, another reason I don't, so in that room, in that veg room, I don't have an air conditioner. I don't have a dehumidifier. Those kinds of things can get like dusts and stuff can really clog them up. So I don't have to worry about that. On Wednesdays, I use my Botanigard medium spray. That's every Wednesday in flower and in veg. I spray the mediums. That's the pots. In veg on small solo cups, I think I mentioned this already, but to get them inoculated, I do 3 sprays every other day. And then it's once a week on the regular schedule. That's on Wednesdays. And then on Thursdays, I water a tea, which I get ready on Tuesdays, usually Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. That tea is going to have a lot of like bacterias and funguses with some different foods and stuff. And then I usually let that tea kind of brew. I want it to brew a little longer. So just kind of depending on what I want to do there. When I add foods to it, I brew it longer. So if it's only going to be a bacterial tea, it'll be 2 days, maybe 18, maybe 36 hours. A food tea, I start brewing on Friday, and I add Hybrix, which is a molasses, to it, like every other day. But tea goes in on Thursdays, or on Wednesday, or Thursdays, and then on Friday is when I water Regalia into everything. So that's when I'm doing my reservoir changes. It's the very end of my reservoirs. It's kind of, Regalia is from Rome Bio, the knotweed extract for the powdery mildew. What Regalia actually does is buffs up the defense system of your plant. So not only is it preventative, but it's giving my girls some muscles. And I haven't seen powdery mildew for a really long time.
That's good.
But I really, really like that product.
Nice.
Not as a spray, but as watering in it. But yeah, that together. So the Lost Coast Plant Therapy spray will pretty much kill any bug it hits. The diatomaceous earth is specifically for mites. It stays on the plant. It's also a silica. I've noticed my stems definitely get a little bit harder, a little more brittle too. But it's also a silica, but it's specifically there for mites. Dude, I did not want to go through ever another russet or broad mite problem. And it was very obvious how they live and how they reproduce and how they live their cycles, that I wasn't going to be able to zap them with an oil spray. So, and then the Regalia, like I said, is for the powdery mildew. The Botanigard sprayed is going to be for any of my medium bugs. And then the tea is to add an organic aspect to everything and to buff up my strength as well, and give my plant a little bit of extra defense.
There you go.
So I found that together, I've been able to not spray in flower at all. I only do that in veg. I rarely spray over a half gallon to a full gallon at a time. So even though I'm spraying decently often, I don't use very much product at all. And it has been able to, for the most part, especially since getting that specific recipe, like 100% bug free, basically. I could get a few gnats every now and again, but I use that little Botanigard spray and usually clean the drains, and I'm good.
Nice. So there's the schedule, everybody. There's the schedule that Big Earl does. So, me myself, I'm gonna look for the easier way. So that's too much for me.
So, yeah, it is kind of a lot. It's just,
But you're growing, man, you're a caregiver. You grow a lot of plants. You got a lot to take care of. I have 2 plants, 3 tops. What is good for somebody like myself to keep it simple, silly? Because nobody's stupid. I say KISS. It's keep it simple, silly. Yeah. So for somebody who's silly like me, how do I keep it simple? Like what would be like the 1 or 2 things I actually need to keep it preventative versus defensive, like where I start from the beginning? What would be the simplicity that's not going to break a budget, that's going to keep it simple for somebody who's kind of not so smart when it comes to reading instructions?
So the cheapest I would think of would be to buy your own ISO, use that with a soap. Bronner's is perfect. Maybe say fuck it to the oil, making it like the Lost Coast Plant Wash or whatever. Just the ISO, soap spray, and then do top dresses with diatomaceous earth or sulfur or both if you wanted to on your plants a few times. One thing that I think, and that a lot of people really stress, is getting your cards in there, the yellow and blue cards, and really reading those, because that will tell you before you notice a problem, before you see them buzzing, before you hear them popping in the light, or I don't know. For people who only run LEDs back in the day, when you had those hot ass lights, you could smell your fucking bugs. Those little bitches would fly up into the light, commit their little suicides, and you'd hear them pop, and you could smell them. It was fun.
So simple, little Dr. Bronner's, little ISO, keep it simple, Step it up if you need to. Perfect. I love it. So
that's a little top dress. Diatomaceous are super inexpensive. Bronner's is inexpensive. Isopropyl alcohol is very inexpensive. And then those yellow cards.
Oh, so you're talking about alcohol. What's the percentage of alcohol? Because I mean, you can fucking
you want those are usually like 99%. I don't really. I'm trying to remember the milliliter that I use. I don't think it's. I don't use it a lot, but it's somewhere like 15, 20 milliliters a gallon.
Gotcha.
It's not a ton.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Big Earl, man. That's a good topic, huh? Fucking a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's something that is hard to really wrap around a little bit, and you want an answer. Like so much stuff especially with perfecting cannabis growing. You want an answer, and there's just not really an answer for it. There's suggestions, and you got to kind of find your own answer. You got, there's a ton of people out there that hopefully are still listening, and they might be thinking diatomaceous earth is duty. I don't know why anybody ever use that. Sulfur. And maybe it's just so many different things that we don't even think about that can change the effectiveness for everything. So
right.
Just do it on your own. Don't be afraid. If you have any questions, we love talking about it.
Yeah, reach out. But we do have a question. A question from a listener. Fuzzy Nugs.
Yeah.
And he asked, I have your Ursula Berry. Well, first, Fuzzy Nugs, Ursula Berry is amazing because I'm smoking it on the show. So there's one. Times Poo Peaches Autos. Any tips as far as size of plant and grow period?
Yeah, so he hollered at me about. We talked, and I liked the topic, so I thought we'd bring up. So first off, like you said, the Ursula Berry F3, super nice. Some really dark pheno, some really light pheno, and the Poo's Peaches has been giving like a nice rotten funk to things. Like it's gonna be such a nice. You're gonna love them. But so size of a plant, even autos, is really super dependent on how much food, power, CO2, how much everything you're giving that bad boy. But I would say mine, I keep about 3 to 4 foot tall, and like I give them like a 2 square foot area. I cut them back a lot because I want to grow a lot of them in a small area to see how they are. And I keep them in a 3-gallon pot. I fill it up right now. I fill up 1.5 gallons, and then I add another 1.5 gallons like week 2 of flour, 3 of flour. Because those autos, I'm trying to do a full run with just organic cocoa, like with organic food added to it. So I'm only actually feeding them right now a molasses and water.
Interesting.
So my thoughts there were that hopefully they won't suck all the food out, or they won't suck all the food out in veg and get too big, because I don't want them to get too big anyway. And then I can add the extra food to pump them through flour, I hope.
Nice. So new technique we're learning from Big Earl.
Hey, that's we'll see how it works, but I'm hoping that a 3-gallon can get them through through it all without having to add. I haven't added any food so far, and there's a couple of them are like they're all looking decent, but the early so half of them it's looking like are probably like 85, 90 dayers, and half of them are about 75 dayers, which is probably where most of the lines are going to be anyway. But the 75 dayers are bosses. They're like beastie and stinky. And then the 85 dayers, you can tell are a little bit behind those, but they're all really, really nice there. So I'm really excited for them.
Nice. So you got a new line coming out?
Yeah, so the auto flowers, they are going through. I have them for sale right now. I got them at about $1 a seed. They're going through a lot of their testing in other gardens. I have them going through my first run. As soon as I got like, I think 1 seed out of the 50 or 60 that were there, didn't pop. So I got almost 100% germination on them. Everybody was really happy. Haven't seen anything negative from them so far. Super terpy, man. I tell you what, I don't think maybe I'm just getting better at growing them as autoflowers. But so far, I haven't had one where I just walk. Like when I walk, I have very like, what would that be? Like 12.5% of my room is dedicated to autoflowers, and I try to cram these little bitches in there. And so they do not have very much room, and they stink up the area. Now the plants around them aren't flowering. They went in after them. They're week 1, so it's like, you know, but they're so early in flower and so terpy already. I'm very, very excited for them.
Nice, love it. So new line, new auto line by Big Earl. Love it.
I just cut down the plants. So this won't be coming out for a little while. I gotta still germinate them and make sure everything's with the photo periods. I want to at least grow them through once. The autoflowers I'm looking at a little differently, but that Stanky Haze line just came down, so I have those F2s and those popped. Got 100% germination on everything except for the actual F2. I had 2 of those not popped, so I'm gonna do those another round and see what's going on with those. But everything looks so nice so far. Everything super fast. Got the taproot and they're fresh, so maybe that's it. But super fast taproot, super small, delicious little plants. Should have some really fun. That Stanky Haze is very GMO-y, but it has like the larger, fluffier haze flowers on it. So if you've ever grown GMO, they're super dense little flowers. At least mine all are. And so I don't dislike growing it. I just it almost looks like you're not getting the yield off of it with mine, because it's like, oh, there's 2 inches of stem and another flower, and an inch of stem and another flower, and yeah, the last flower looks good, but I want like my whole stack to look good, you know?
Right. That's just perfecting that plant, right? Just trying to get it to do what you want eventually. The more you learn.
Yeah, that's what the Stanky Haze was for me. So that line I'm really excited about, and literally today I put in the mail for the Uncle John's Packy headband run.
Damn.
So, man, I got some Olympus headband cross, and I fucking fell in love with the Olympus headband, and I can't find it very many places, and that was a pack that has been intriguing me for a really long time, and so I popped half a pack of it, and they're old-ass seeds. I got, I think, 3 of them to go. All were males. But one in particular, like, was terpy as fuck. Just was different. Super strong, super well structured. Like, right away, I was like, that's for sure going to be, I don't know. Before I knew if it was male or female, it was like, that's the one that I'm going to. The other ones looked fine, you know, but it was like, that one was just like, it was like when Griswold walked into the forest and the light shining down on the tree. All those other trees in the forest were great. Those are all healthy, nice trees, but that was the tree.
Nice. So new projects, new stuff, new stuff to look out for on Big Earl's on his Instagram. And so make sure you check out follow Earl 217 on Instagram. And what's the other one? The I am the Regal Beagle.
Yeah, I am the Regal Beagle.
There you go. Make sure you follow him on both of those, and always check out 8decades.com. Mrs. Weedman and Mr. Weedman, check us out, our site. You can find out all of our fucking tags and handles on there. Hey, everybody out there in the world, we love you. We appreciate you listening to us. Big Earl, man, it's time to end the show. You got anything else to say, my friend?
No, not much. We had all this IPM talk. We didn't bring it up, but make sure you're throwing some CalMag in there with your IPM stuff.
Don't forget the CalMag, everybody. Peace.